We are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts just like winter.
New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is K-N-I-C-K.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, it is the New York Knicks podcast, episode 624. How you doing, Mark?
I am doing it's doing as well as you can be when the Knicks are 1-2. I have to say, Friday night, I took my kids to a Halloween thing called, we call it the Spooky Walk, where you go to this park and people jump out dressed in costume. There's a bunch of people with fake chainsaws chasing after you. It was really fun. Kids had a good time. Got home. Kids went to bed. I turned on the Knicks game. Mm-hmm. I turned on the TV and I DVR'd the game. I watch a lot of games on DVR. And when I turned it on, like the TV, a lot of times it's on the channel where the Knicks game is on. And I have to really quickly change it because I don't want to see the score and ruin the whole game for myself because I do want to watch.
Yeah.
I turned it on and I see someone being interviewed. I think it's someone from the Hawks being interviewed. I immediately turn it off and my mind is like, I don't know the score, but why would they interview someone on the Hawks if the Hawks didn't win the game? Mm-hmm. I know the Hawks won the game. And the entire game, I am waiting for the collapse. Mm-hmm. I'm like, the Knicks are going to lose. I know they interviewed this guy because, and also I may even have the wrong broadcast. I don't even know if it's on the right channel, but I think it is. I think they interviewed the Hawks guy. And I don't even know who it was on the Hawks, but I am so miserable watching the whole game. And then near the end of the game, the Knicks are finally up. Can't blow this. And then they have 3 turnovers in a row. And I'm like, oh my God, they really are going to lose this game. I have to say that, like, between, what was it? Randall turns the ball over. Then, it was Randall turned over, then Grimes turned it over, then Brunson turned it over. And you were like, oh my effing Lord, this may be the most epic, most Knicksian collapse I've ever seen in a game. And they pull it off.
I'm usually pretty level-headed during the games, but I audibly yelled what the fuck out loud when Brunson turned it over. I just couldn't take it anymore.
I couldn't even, and we can talk about this game. Then Saturday night, not that we have we went out to a adult Halloween party. I drank a little too much, came home a little drunk. Wife went to bed, kids were asleep, and I turned on the Knicks game and was kind of buzzed / drunk while watching the Knicks just play terribly against the Pelicans and did not enjoy that game at all.
Not an enjoyable game, no.
Not an enjoyable game where they basically just didn't show up for the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game and could never catch up the rest of the way.
So I'm not worried.
Why would you? It's 1-2. Like, plenty of teams go 1-2 and then go to the playoffs, if not the finals. Like,
I think
not a big deal.
And arguably they should be 2-1. But also I'm not worried because it was a back-to-back early in the season. Why the Knicks have 2 back-to-backs in the first 10 days of the season is that's insane to me. But
why do they have back-to-back with both of the games being on the road in different cities?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Andrew says it's 1-2. Should we rebuild?
Yes, we should completely overreact.
Blow it up.
Let's trade everybody and just go all in for the draft. Let's just tank. I don't know who's available, but whoever is going to be the number 1 pick is who we're going to dream about. Burn the franchise to the ground. Let's do it.
Yeah, early in the season, it's a back-to-back. Randall did get surgery in the offseason, so maybe it'll take him a little bit to get into the swing of things. Everyone's been very hard on Randall. He did have 8 turnovers in Game 3. He had 0 in Game 2, though.
Was it Game 1 to get 0?
I thought it was Game 2.
It was Game 1. He had that weird stat line where he had 0 turnovers, but shot 5 for 22 from the field.
Yeah. Anyway, he's not been good, obviously.
Yeah,
but it's not I don't think he's going to revert to being terrible. He was an all-star last season. He had surgery in the offseason. I think he's going to get off to a slow start. Is that like an unreasonable take? Or
That unreasonable to be totally level-headed and go the guy who's had a long track record and who was an all-star last year could be good this year and just had a couple bad games to start the year? Is that and blaming it because he didn't get a chance to practice as much in the offseason because he was injured, had surgery? Is that a level-headed take? Yes, that does not deserve to be on our show, but you could fine be level-headed.
I mean, Brunson hasn't been good either. I don't think he automatically like all of a sudden just sucks too.
Okay, let's just talk about them separately.
Okay.
So first, you want to talk about Randall. So why don't we do a little back and forth in here? Okay, you are going to be level-headed Knicks fan, and I am going to be
A
insane
on...
Knicks Twitter.
Yeah.
Randall's destroying the franchise.
Okay.
So I see your argument about his injury. If he cared about the Knicks, he would have been shooting threes from a wheelchair all off season, or playing on a broken ankle. The fact that he had surgery means he doesn't care about this team.
Are you saying he should have waited until after the All-Star break, like some other power forward we had on the team?
He should have waited till his career was over to get surgery, play on a bum ankle. Just don't miss a moment of practice. And also, forgetting all that crap, he's shooting. He is even odd every off year. Randall can only be good in a even. Every other year. Randall. Last year he was good. This year he's going to be terrible. That's how it works with Randall. He can only play good every other year.
So Tibbs is trying a new offense where there's more ball movement because the Knicks were last year in assists.
Exactly. Tibbs wants to go away from what Randall does best, which is not move the ball and go ISO. He's destroying. He destroyed Obi. Now he's trying to destroy Randall.
So you're saying they will never figure out how to move the ball around, and they're just going to turn it over all season?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I don't. Is Tibbs really trying something new, or just he's asking? Now we have more guys that can pass the ball.
I think he's trying to encourage everybody to move the ball around more. I personally feel like some of these players are being too passive. We mentioned that last episode where 3 guys should have shot before they gave it to Randall at the buzzer to jack up a shot. But I do like fairness, having more ball movement.
Dante DiVincenzo was giving the ball up in game 1. Game 2, he was on fire. And in game 3, he wasn't so good again.
Yeah, well, you know what? Everybody sucked in game 3, second night of a back-to-back. Game 2, almost everybody looked good. I feel like...
You think there's something about the back-to-back? You think?
I think there might be something about the back-to-back, especially early in the season. But I think game 2 is kind of what this team will look like mid-season.
There was a moment in game 4 where in game 2 in the fourth quarter, or maybe it was end of third quarter, I forget exactly when it was, where the entire Knicks team looked gassed. Do you remember that? There was that moment in game, they had to do, they called a timeout and they did some substitutions. Everyone looked a bit gassed, and I was like, I don't know what it is, but this team does not look totally in game shape to start this. Maybe it's because there was less. Maybe because the Knicks did not really go all out in preseason. The guys just aren't quite in game shape yet.
I mean,
but I think that really hurts you on a back-to-back.
I don't think it's like just the Knicks. Dame had a terrible, terrible game. Shea had a terrible, terrible game. It's early in the season, and guys are still getting their groove. Like, do you think Bucks and Thunder fans are calling for those guys to get traded and their bums? And
yeah, I think there's some Bucks fans that are that crazy. But yes, you're totally fair. I mean, first of all, OKC. You're right. SGA is a disaster. Trade him to the Knicks as fast as you can.
Yeah. Same with Dame. Get them both.
Yeah. My excuses. Randall did have the surgery. I think that's correct. He also did not. I don't think he was ready to really practice on his ankle until like preseason. So he didn't have the same offseason ability to like really work out a shot. Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson played FIBA. I hate international play because it just screws up your starts of the regular season. I think both guys are off because they're a little bit exhausted from playing FIBA. I think that really does matter.
I think they learn a lot when they do FIBA, but then, they also come in a little burnt out. Yeah,
because you kind of didn't have the full offseason to, like, really rest up and get ready for the season. You had that, like, you had to go from, like, 0 to 100 for FIBA. And FIBA wasn't that long ago. It was, like, a month and a half ago.
Yeah, speaking of being in the regular season fully rested, the NBA said they were going to crack down on rest days. Game 2 of the season, a bunch of stars rested, which I just find hilarious.
It's like guys are trolling. Jimmy Butler had a rest day. Embiid had a rest day.
Literally,
how
game
much rest
2,
do you need?
Game 2 of the season. There's some old heads from the 80s. Like, are you guys kidding me? Like, you're resting in game 2.
I know we just said that the Knicks doing a back-to-back for game 3 of the season was a little annoying, and guys were not playing as well because of that. They had to go to a different city, but like they didn't take the night off. Like they didn't feel like I can't play tonight because it's a back-to-back.
Right. Barkley's like, I flew coach when I played. I played every game of the season.
I mean, it really is absurd. I thought, and is the NBA finding anyone yet?
No, not at all. They said they were gonna. They're not. They're too busy focused on Jalen Brunson and making up flops for him.
I didn't know that because I know every year they have like a focus, and I didn't know the focus this year was calling 82 flops and finding on Jalen Brunson. Like every game he's gonna get a flop call, and they're gonna find him every game.
Yeah, when they said they were gonna focus on flops, I didn't know they meant just for Brunson.
Just to Jalen Brunson on questionable flops. They're going to just hammer him.
So game 1, he stepped on Tatum's foot and fell over, and they called a flop. Game 2, he tried to avoid a foot in his landing area, and he got fined for a flop after the game. Game 3, Ingram puts his foot in his landing area. He lands on Ingram's foot again. No call. And he turns to the ref and says, "What the hell is going on?" And he gets a tech. Like,
yeah.
What is he supposed to do? Like,
by the way,
you're not supposed to be in the landing area. That's the rule.
That is the rule. Also, there's no better proof that your flop rule is broken. If 3 games into the season, Trae Young has not been called for one.
Right.
He's a walking flop.
I thought that this flopping rule was supposed to be for blatant, egregious flops, not like maybe he did, maybe he didn't. We got to go to the videotape. Like, if you need instant replay, it wasn't egregious enough.
No, it really is. They should never go. First of all, there should be not a single fine after the game. Like, you call it in the game or don't call it. But reviewing the game to find the flop is ridiculous. I agree with you. You have to look at the footage to figure out it was a flop. Then don't even bother doing this.
There's plenty. Trust me, there is plenty of ridiculous flops that you can choose from.
Only the NBA could take like something that's really frustrating, the flop, and go, we can make this worse.
Right.
We can make it worse.
They created this flop problem, and now they're making the solution even worse than the creation of it.
Holy crap. It's not the biggest of deals. It's just you're like, what in God's name are they doing? That's what it comes down to.
Well, the good news is all these mandates they give up on by game 20 anyway, so this will probably be over with in about a month and a half.
Yeah, at some point they'll move on from this. My understanding is James Harden is not going to play a single game until they get rid of the flop rule.
Like,
okay, so why don't we go? Do you want to
exposed.
talk a little more about the games? By the way, I also just want to add from the games. It was amazing the narrative change for Randall. Game 1, everyone's like, he played poorly, blah, blah, blah. Game 2, he didn't get any points, but he hit like the free throws down the end. He picked it, passed the ball. He did all these things. Everyone was like, he's the new Draymond Green.
7 assists. Yeah.
7 assists. Yeah, he did a lot of things. And it was like the narrative, like his role has changed. This is the better role for him. He's basically going to be Draymond Green with more offense. He's awesome. Game 3, he's garbage. He's terrible. It's amazing how fast the narrative flips.
Somebody told me today that they should have traded him because this is a pro Obi argument. They should have traded him and Mitch for Ayton.
Oh, he's working out really well in Portland so far.
In Obi Ayton front court would have been pretty hilarious, I think.
Yeah, that would not have been good. Also, just check. I don't know what's going on. I haven't watched the Portland games, but he doesn't look good, at least in the box score. Ayton so far.
He's averaging, I think, 7 points a game. It's not great. Not great. He's getting 12 rebounds a game, which is good, but he's not dominating, which he said he was going to be.
Apparently, Scoot is also not dominating, and maybe that's a big issue there as well.
I bid pretty high on him in fantasy, and I'm about 1 game away from dropping him. He looks so bad. If he's a bust, Portland has busted in Jordan and Durant and maybe Thompson or like.
Well, I don't know who they would have taken instead of him. So like,
The guy who
I don't know.
the guy who was picked third.
He was picked third, wasn't he?
I think he
Wasn't
picked,
Scoot?
I'm pretty sure
Wasn't
he was
Scoot
picked
third?
second.
Number 2 was the guy Charlotte took, or my. Oh, who was number 1? No, 1 was obviously Wemby. 2 was Brandon Ingram. Brandon, not Ingram. Brandon. What's his name on Charlotte?
Thompson, right?
No, I'm sorry. I ruined the show by not knowing anyone's name.
We are the worst podcast. So
Brandon Miller, the guy that was that gave the guy the gun for the.
You're right.
Who, allegedly gave the gun to the guy who killed someone. It was
Thompson. That's who I was.
Brandon Miller.
No, Thompson's who they could have picked. Amen Thompson on Rockets.
Oh, is he good?
Well, they could have picked Anthony Black or
They could have picked a lot of guys.
yeah.
Anyway, we don't know. I'm sure he'll work itself out. I'm sure Scoot's actually probably pretty good. But okay, first game. Okay, it's not first game. The Atlanta game. So the Knicks shot the lights out from 3. They were awesome. They were actually really awesome from 3 of the first 2 games. Jalen Brunson was 8 for 12 from 3. He hasn't been that good from 2 so far. Does that concern you?
No, nothing. If I learned anything from last season, nothing in the first 5 games concerns me. If by game like 7, 8, they still look like this, I'll start getting concerned. I've changed. I'm a changed man, and I'm not freaking out over the first 5 games.
Didn't the Jazz, who the first 12 games, had the best record in the NBA last year?
Yeah, they were
At some
like
point,
9.
People were like, the Jazz are going to be
9-2.
awesome.
They were 9-2 and the number 1 seed.
Yeah,
and they didn't
things
even,
change fast.
They do.
But Brunson anyway, Brunson was really, really awesome from 3 against the Hawks. 8 for 12 is ridiculous. Everyone was hitting threes. Nick shot 45% from 3. They actually shot 43% in game 1 against the Celtics. Forgetting, and they didn't shoot well against them. They didn't shoot well against the Pelicans. But do you think the Knicks are going to be a better 3-point shooting team than we've given them credit for?
Yeah. So I thought it was a little mean that the Knicks single game 3-point record is 10, and it's tied between J.R. Smith and Fournier. And every time Brunson hit a 3, they would show Fournier on the bench just watching. I thought it was a little mean. And he had 8 in the third quarter, I think, and he didn't hit any in the fourth quarter. But
no, he didn't hit any more. I mean, whatever about the record, but
I thought it was a little
Fournier,
mean to show Fournier every time he hit a 3.
Fournier is just really unhappy, and it sucks for Fournier. He does not deserve. Fournier does not deserve this fate. At the same time, he's not good enough to break the Knicks 9-man rotation. So it is what it is, and he's getting paid a lot of money not to play. So
yeah,
but it's kind of cruel to keep going to him.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to rub it in.
Apparently, you do. I guess I don't know. So. Are you feeling good if you're but the Hawks, by the way, they beat the Bucks the following game, which is crazy as well. And the Hawks don't look very good at all.
No, except that who's the guy who tore up the Knicks?
Murray.
No.
Oh, you mean DeAndre Hunter?
Nope.
Who tore up the Knicks on the Hawks? You mean Trae Young?
No. It was he didn't do anything. I think he was a rookie when they played him in the playoffs, but Johnson.
John Collins?
Jalen Johnson.
Oh, Jalen Johnson looked really good. Yeah. Yeah, he looked great. I mean, he got 11 points, though. It's not like not like he crushed them.
But I don't know. I just felt like every time I looked up, he was doing something. I know he only ended up with 11
played
points,
pretty well.
He was 5 for 8. He had 9 rebounds, a steal block. He looked nice.
No, he's a young player. He looks like he will be a good player.
Yeah, I mean, the first 2 years he looked like absolutely nothing, but he's, I guess, year 3 leap.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. But man, if Randall didn't hit those free throws, I would have lost my goddamn mind.
If Randall hit those free throws?
If he did not hit those free throws.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about that game?
I I mean, after game one, we thought Quickly was going to go on his revenge tour, and then he went 1 for 9 from 3.
Quickly
got a lot of
went from
assists.
Quickly I'm going to get a max contract to being like, hey, I should have taken the Knicks offer kind of thing.
Yeah, it was. He's an up and down player, and he plays good defense, which is good. I think I'm of the opinion that he's better than Grimes.
So there's a lot of debate. So here's a question for you. I know there's some Knicks creators, whatever, who have been really hammering that IQ needs to start. How do you feel about that? Should he be the starting 2 guard instead of Grimes?
I think he's better than Grimes, but I think the bench won't have enough scoring. I don't think Grimes on the bench would do what IQ's doing on offense, and I don't think there would be enough offense when the bench unit goes out there if Grimes was on the bench.
I mean, IQ hasn't been that great on offense since game 1. I mean, game 2 and game 3, he wasn't very good on offense either. I do think Grimes, I'd like to see him take a more of a role on offense, but I also feel like if you start Quickly, who's the point guard with the second unit?
Well, that too. It
doesn't
also he's inconsistent, but isn't that what a 6th man is? I mean, Lou Williams,
no, that's fine.
Clarkson, Smith, all those guys are just they could put up 30 points or they could put up 4. I feel like that's just what a 6th man is. That's why.
I completely agree. Also, do you really want Quickly on the floor only with Brunson? Because then Quickly doesn't really get to dominate the ball at any point, and I think Quickly does look better when he gets to dominate the ball.
Right. I think part of the Knicks' strength is that their bench unit is very good and has a lot of continuity. And even though I think IQ is better than Grimes, I don't think it works if you switch.
I would like to find some more minutes for Quickly, which I think will happen. The game 1, he played 28 minutes, but I don't think this is a major issue. I think people are making too big of a deal about it. Also, with the first unit, you have so many guys who are going to shoot the ball. You need one guy who's going to be more fitting in.
I mean, he played 24 minutes in game 2. That's not crazy low. I think that's fine.
Yeah, he's going to get 25 plus minutes most nights. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's going to be much of an issue. Also, I think Grimes can really defend threes better than Quickly can.
Yeah.
He's got a little more size. I think Grimes is a better fit. You also just need another guy in the starting unit who's just more of a knockdown shooter. He fits better with the first unit. I think people are making too big of a deal of just it's almost like putting their love for Quickly above the love for what works for the team.
Right. Yeah, it's the starting lineup right now makes sense.
Yeah. It makes sense. Quickly on the bench makes sense. You're going to make the second unit worse for the sake of promoting Quickly's career.
The only problem with the second unit is it's pretty small.
The only problem with the Knicks is they're pretty small.
So if you look at ESPN, they designate 8 Knicks players as a shooting guard.
The Knicks don't have
height. A lot of shooting guards.
Is this going to be a problem? I mean, the Knicks basically have gone all in on small ball, and obviously you have Randall, you have the centers, but most guys, the rest of the team is small. You look at New Orleans, they have a lot of tall guys who can do a lot.
I'm not saying ESPN is the best, but they have Randall as the only forward on the entire roster.
I mean, they're not wrong.
Yeah.
Grimes is a shooting guard. IQ's a shooting guard. DiVincenzo is a shooting guard.
I
don't care about the actual bench, but
even
non-playing bench.
Even the bench. Yeah, Ihart's a center, and everybody else is shooting guard.
Yeah, I don't know how the Knicks have gone in just a no. Well, RJ I guess is a 3, but you could also argue RJ's a 2.
Right. ESPN says he's a 2.
I don't think they're that wrong. I think it's hard to say. So they got rid of Obi, and Obi had the size, but from a defensive standpoint, do you want Obi's size out there, or do you want, say, Dante DiVincenzo, who knows how to play defense?
Right. I'd rather have Dante and then Hart move down a spot.
Yeah, I feel like those guys are going to be just the team right now. The 9-man rotation it's just better defensively than last year's rotation. And so, like, I think you basically removed Obi, who's just a poor defender. It's better for the team, but like, it'd be nice if you had a guy who was 6'8" or 6'9" who could do something out there. Not named besides Randall, of course.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you would move one of Hart, Dante, or Quickly for a forward, but everybody likes all those guys. I do too.
I mean, in theory, you can make it if they're making a big trade. Their big trade's probably not for a shooting guard, or maybe it's for Donovan Mitchell, and you go all in on being short. But in theory, also, like, if you had draft picks, you were using, like, the last 2 years they didn't really draft anyone. And not having draft picks hurts because you should be drafting tall players who are athletic, maybe threes, who can kind of start taking more of a role.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, like, we'll see how it goes this year. The Knicks should have a first round pick at least this coming off season. They'll be able to bring in more talent, and like talented players will find playing time, especially if they can play the backup four or really be a three. But the Knicks have gone in a little bit overboard on shooting guards here. I agree with that being a problem.
I feel like Duran might be my new Halliburton.
No, he is not. I mean, he's going to be good. We talked about the last show, and you're changing topics, Jay, but like, I'm fine with Mitch and Ihart. The bigger miss was the dude on OKC. This is not that big of a miss. Oh,
you don't think it's that big of a miss?
Jalen Williams actually fit well in this roster. Duran is good, but like, you have Mitch, and Mitch is really good also.
You don't think you could play Duran at the 4?
No, he's not a 4.
You don't think
you play Duran at point guard? Just throw guys completely out of position?
That's not completely out of position. You don't think you could play Duran at the 5 and then?
Does Duran shoot threes? I don't think he shoots threes, Jay.
He's averaging 15 rebounds a game as a rookie.
Yeah, he's a good player, and he's not a rookie. Also, he's a second-year player.
Second-year player. You're not upset that the Knicks didn't like hang on to him?
I'm upset we did this all last season, Jay. I'm upset they did not get Jalen Williams from OKC. He was the guy who made sense. He would be the obvious pick there because they were going to re-sign Mitch. He was the logical pick. You needed more depth at the 3. I mean, you could have drafted other guys as well, but Jalen Duran would have made sense if you weren't going to bring back Mitch or you weren't going to bring in Ihart. He would have made a little more sense that way. For that reason, like but not at the 4. You're not going to you're going to go like Twin Towers and think it's going to work out when you're going to have the 4 and a 5 who can't shoot threes.
I'd rather him than Mitch.
Have you even watched him, Jay? Have you watched a lot of him? I remember watching him last season. When the Knicks played Detroit, he didn't look all that amazing.
He made a leap in year 2.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he'll probably going to be a very good player. I have no question. I have no doubt about it. But it's completely overreacting to say I'd rather have him than Mitch. Mitch is really good.
I think the Knicks should stop trading their first-round draft picks. This is a hot take, but I think the Knicks should stop doing that.
Yes, the Knicks should. So last year, I mean, in defense of it, like, they traded the first-round pick. They thought they'd still have a first, but Dallas just tanked, and they got Josh Hart, who ended up helping them get pretty far in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't crazy what they did last year. The year before was crazy, but can we move forward with not talking about the same topic every show?
Yes.
Okay.
Still don't like it. If they do it again this year, though, I'm snapping.
The Knicks announced they've traded their first round pick for a bag of donuts just to piss off a dude that lives in Westchester.
They're like, you know what? We figured out we want to get off this random contract on the bench, so we're going to trade our first round pick again.
Okay, so the Pelican game, the Knicks looked like, so just to briefly talk about the Pelican game, Knicks went down early, just played terrible in the first quarter. I think they were 26-12 in the first quarter and just really couldn't catch up. They came as close as being down by 6, but could never really fully cut it. And the Pelicans look really good, and they have a healthy Zion, which I have to say, first of all, Zion looked great. There was some clip someone made or pointed out that, like, Julius wasn't doing a good job of defending Zion Williamson. I'm like, show me the player that's doing a good job of defending him when he's healthy. There is no one. He's elite.
Yeah, agreed. Healthy Zion is a borderline unguardable I don't. I think that's going a little. You're just trying to hate it. If you're
Yeah, people were giving crap. They're like, Julius didn't look that good against Zion. He wasn't strong enough against Zion. Yeah, Zion is really good. No one has said Zion's bad in the court. They're just saying Zion is bad at staying on the court.
right, Randall's one of the strongest guys in the NBA. If he's not strong enough for Zion, then who are you going to get?
Zion, and like there was the play they showed. Zion did this little leap push shot. I'm sorry, who's going to guard that? That was a really hard, fast, very athletic play. Don't give Randall shit for plays that, like, there's plenty of things to give Randall shit for. That was a ridiculous play to go like, oh, Randall's not good at shutting down this guy who might be a multi-generational, multi-season all-star.
Yeah.
A generational talent, basically. Like, so, Jay, you watch Zion Williamson play. He's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Would you go all in the trade for him right now? Let's say tomorrow he's like, Pelicans, it's been a good run. Those 3 games, I'm done. Trade me.
I don't know. He's played like 130 games in 5 years. Like, it's game 3. Do you honestly, can you look me in the eye and tell me you expect him to play 60 games this year?
I believe more in Aaron Rodgers' health than I believe in Zion Williamson's health.
Yeah.
But he looks good when he's on the court.
He
Good
does.
for
He
the
looks
Pelicans.
awesome.
Hopefully
I feel like all in would be a little bold for a guy who's had 1 healthy season out of 5.
Okay, Zion Williamson, over under. He stays healthy through the in-season play-in tournament or in-season tournaments.
Isn't that in
crap.
like 2 weeks or something?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll give him that. Watch him get injured during that tournament.
So the Pelicans, that would be, not that I want anything to happen to him, but how funny would it be if during that tournament he gets injured and the NBA is like, crap.
The only good thing about that is maybe they'll cancel the tournament, because I have not hated an idea the NBA has had more since they moved in the 3-point line.
Have you seen what the Knicks the floor is going to look like?
Yeah.
The arena floor is going to look like this awful orange design.
I don't care. It's stupid. I don't like
It
it.
just looks so dumb. I think apparently it starts this Friday or this coming Friday.
I'm very against this. Andrew says, for the same package, would you rather Zion or Embiid?
Yes. Before I want to get there in 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the in-season tournament would just be like a single elimination thing, but you have like you're all in like different groupings. You have to play your groupings and then you go to the single elimination tournament.
Yeah. So the finalists for this tournament, I believe, will end up playing 83 games this season, because the players, the coaches, and the fans themselves have said there's too many games. So their solution was to add a game.
First of all, why don't they just do it like March Madness style? I know there's only 30 teams, not 32 teams, but you could just give 2 teams like buys for the first round and just do single elimination. That at least would be a little more exciting and give everyone an equal shot, like for the tournament, like a March Madness style.
I have a better idea. Don't have the
it?
tournament. Don't have. It's
Okay.
stupid. It's the worst idea. I hate it.
So what do you think of the Embiid? So the Knicks rumored offer for Embiid was, I think it was, I don't have it in front of me, but it was Randall, RJ, Mitch, 3 or 4 first-round picks. What did you think of that, Jay?
It was 3 of RJ, Randall, Mitch, and Fournier. Now
I love how please choose, like they're saying that, please choose Fournier, please choose Fournier, please choose Fournier. three of 3 guys you might want and a 4th guy.
I wonder if it was. I wonder if it was 3 out of these 4, but one of them has to be Fournier.
Yeah, maybe that makes more sense.
Yeah, because I doubt they would just be like, if you want, he's available.
You could, in honor of Halloween, you could have 3 of these 4 candies. You could have M&M's, Twix, M&M's, Twix, a Crunch Bar, or my shit.
I don't think Fournier is that bad, but when you're
No, I know. Okay. That was pretty cold. I was just trying to be funny. Sorry, not funny. But
you could have said
Fournier is not
Almond Joy. Almond Joy.
Yeah, but Fournier clear hey, we have this 4th guy who can't crack our 9-man rotation, and we're the Knicks. Do you want him?
Yeah. So you saying, is that too much?
Oh, I'm doing it. I'm doing the trade. I'm 100% doing the trade. If they choose Mitch, RJ, and Randall for Embiid plus 3 first-round picks, I am in. I am doing it. You're not doing it,
Really?
Jay?
No, I'm not doing that.
Why are you not doing it?
He's 30.
By the way, the Philly is not doing it also, but go on.
He's 30. He's injury prone. He has a history of not performing well in the playoffs.
You know he's gotten to the second round. The Knicks. When's the last time the Knicks went to the second round, Jay?
He has a stacked team. He hasn't gotten past the second round with a completely stacked team for his entire career.
It is funny though. Like we're like, man, if we get Embiid, he can get to the second round.
I know. It's like, okay. Do you think the Knicks are better if they have Embiid, but they don't have Mitch, let's say like RJ
And Randall? I'll do the trade and I'll explain to you. So first off, if you have Embiid, you get rid of one of your centers. So I am fine replacing Mitch with Embiid.
Yeah.
That one's fine.
Yep.
I don't think RJ and Randall work together long term anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm fine moving off one of them. And you know what? I'm fine moving off both of them because I feel like a team of Embiid plus IQ, Brunson, DiVincenzo, Grimes. I feel like that team is still pretty darn good. You probably can find one more piece for that team and be your ceiling's much higher.
I feel
Embiid
like
makes your ceiling much higher than any of the 3 players you traded.
I feel like that team could probably get to like game 6 of the second round.
Maybe. But I like the opportunity. I would do that. I know Embiid's injury prone, but you can only be so conservative in the NBA. Like you have to make swings to make I mean, like Toronto said, "Hey, DeMar Rosen, you've been our best player for years. We just traded you for Kawhi. Sorry."
Yeah.
You have to make swings sometimes. You have to make like at some point you have to like either get lucky in the draft or just make big swings, bold moves. This is not a crazy bold move. Embiid probably has another 4 years of elite play. Your ceiling is much higher. You can probably figure out have a couple other first round picks. You can probably get some other. Maybe you find a way to get Donovan Mitchell on the roster also, and then you look even better.
Okay. I don't think
I am all in for this trade. I don't know why it was like announced as if like that was a real offer. Like Philly's like, we didn't even know about this trade offer, but thank you.
The rumors seem to come out of nowhere because both camps seem to be like, that's okay. Like neither of us said that.
It was bizarre, but like I'm fine with. So RJ's been pretty good this season. I like what he's been doing. I mean, Randall hasn't played well, but he was an all-star last year. You can make a case that like the sum of the 3 of them are worth more to a team than Embiid. You can make that case, but I think the Knicks are deep enough that when you take all those guys off the team, you still have a very good team, and Embiid just makes them better.
So Andrew said, would you do that same offer for Zion?
I would. I have more faith in Embiid's health than I have Zion's health. So no, if you told me Zion's gonna be healthy, obviously I would do that in a heartbeat. But would you say Embiid is a top 5 player in the NBA?
Okay, so
Tell me who else. Tell me the 5 players that are better than him.
Okay, well, definitely Jokic.
No problem.
Giannis.
Yep.
Then it gets maybe it's top 5 then.
Did he get an award last year that said he was really good?
Well, yeah, but he kind of just like begged for it. I mean, Jokic was better.
Yeah, fine, but whatever. I'm not going to argue the MVP award.
Kind
I'm
of
saying,
like a questionable one.
Okay, I'm just saying like so he's maybe top, and you could argue maybe you want to argue Tatum. I guess I don't know. You want to argue Steph still? Fine. He's really top 5. Embiid is top 5 in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's helpful for winning a title? Having a top 5 player.
It is.
I don't know another path to get one. Embiid has to also ask out, want to be traded, and like put the Knicks as like his destination, and then like the Knicks have to like actually like go all in to make the trade. I am down 100% down to do it.
Andrew rounded out the top 5 with Alec Burks, Frank, and Ron Baker. It's tough to argue with that top 5.
Jay, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Would you in that trade, you replace Embiid with Jokic, would you trade my life just to get it? Like they're like part of the trade involves Mark dying, but the Knicks get Jokic. Would you do it?
How quickly are you dying?
We're all dying, Jay. Okay, so a couple
Andrew
questions.
said bye, Mark.
Okay, base Nick fan on Facebook writes, is Randall ever going to have back-to-back good seasons?
This season, telling you, slow start, he's going to pick it up.
He had a slow start last year also. I mean, not this slow, but like I
It's
remember
3
he
games.
had a slow start. All the fans were down on him. He had some game where he hit 8 threes, and like it wasn't like he's awesome. They were like, yeah, this is gonna just encourage him to shoot more threes, and he kind of sucks. And then suddenly he just started playing consistent, and you were like, oh, actually, he might be really good this year.
Mhm.
John writes, has the league figured out Brunson? Can't get in the paint and finish, and middle game is gone. Can't get past the pressure of opposing defenses. Has the league figured out Brunson, Jay?
I think it's just another slow start. I'm not worried.
I 100% believe FIBA. He all hit those 8 threes like a game ago, but he'll be dominating the paint very soon. The dude has shot 50% from 2 his entire career. I don't think the league just suddenly figured him out.
Right.
Wyatt writes, stretch big. Do we need one?
I think it would help a lot, yeah.
I don't know how you're getting one though.
I don't know how you're getting one, and then who do you give up?
I like our centers. I feel like in fairness, the Celtics who we lost to look like they have a very good chance of going to the finals.
And they could have
And
won that game. They could have won that game.
Right. And the Pelicans, it was a back-to-back. And you know what the Pelicans? If the Pelicans have Zion healthy, they have a very good chance in the West. They're a very good team. And Patriot 109109 writes, fire Doris Burke.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Yeah, this is the first tweet from someone on Twitter whose name his name is Patriot something, and I fully agree with what he has to say. Also, Daniel writes, I am from Twitter, I think. Am I the only one who thinks the Knicks will be a play-in team this year? Competition is rough. So will the Knicks fall to the 7th seed or below?
No, I don't think so. I still think they're like the fourth seed.
Okay. I don't see them falling past 6, but we can talk about the Cavs in a moment, but Oscar writes, aside from the Pelicans game, that was just one of those games where you don't get anything going. Thoughts on the starting lineup? Is the Knicks' second unit lacking size when Randall sits?
Yeah, because the backups for, even Mitch, Randall, and RJ are all smaller.
So does the fact we don't have a backup power forward glaring when we see our second unit?
It's not great. It depends on who you play, but there's some teams that are going to be a big problem that are just a lot bigger. I think the Knicks are now the smallest team if you do size per minute play. Somebody did a weird thing where they calculated minutes played and average height, and the Knicks are like 29th in the league or something like that.
In fairness, also, the Knicks shot 7 for 37 from 3 versus the Pelicans. If the Knicks don't need to shoot 40% from 3, but if they shot a little better from 3, they have a good chance of winning that game.
Mm-hmm.
So, the size is an issue, but the Knicks, if you're going to go small, you have to have other things like defense, speed, 3-point shooting that make up for your small size. And I think the Knicks have a lot of 3-point shootings that could really make up for the size.
Yeah.
I think I know also people are like, Obi was really good at shooting threes, blah, blah, blah. DiVincenzo is a much better 3-point shooter. I'd much rather have him shooting. I think the team will be good from 3 this year. They'll be a lot better than they were last year.
Yeah. You do a natural improvement progression for some of the young guys, and then Dante over Obi, they should definitely be better.
On Instagram, Los Dude writes, Pascal Siakam will be an unrestricted free agent next year. Should the Knicks pursue him if Julius Randle continues to be inconsistent?
Not the worst idea.
No, you have to figure out how to move Randle and make it work. But Pascal Siakam would be, if you're going to move on from Randall, he would be a very solid player to move on to.
Well, I mean, how to move on from Randall? That would be the trade, right? Randall for Siakam.
Yes, Toronto. Do you think Toronto is going to take that trade?
Depends. If Siakam says I'm going to walk,
Yeah, I guess you're saying like they want to sign and trade. Will Toronto go to Randall over having nothing?
right?
Yeah,
Why not?
maybe.
It's not like Randall's a bad player.
But we're also the theory behind this is that also Randall has a bad season, and then I don't know. We're 3 games into the season, we should be talking about Randall having a bad season,
Right.
But
I mean, you
if
know
he
who's
does-
also having a bad season 3 games in? Siakam.
Yeah, both guys just need change of scenery. It'll solve everything.
I mean, 3 games in, Siakam's averaging 15 on 37% shooting. Like,
Yeah, I mean it's also like, yeah, everyone does this. Like they go crazy about a very small sample size.
right.
The Knicks have Cleveland in a back-to-back. For Cleveland, this is a revenge game, a revenge series. It's back-to-back, but one of the games will be at home. Do you know who's missing for the Celtics? I mean, for the Cavs.
No, who's missing?
So the Cavs are without Jared Allen. They're without Darius Garland. And Donovan Mitchell is questionable for the game. And Ricky Rubio is out also.
Well, if Donovan's out, there's no excuse not to win this.
Yeah. The Knicks really should win this game. If you forget it, even if Mitchell plays, they don't have Garland and they don't have Jared Allen. Those are 2 like key players on Cleveland. They should be able to win that game.
Right. Like, they beat him in the playoffs with those guys. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't see why they would lose. I also wanted to just mention that. So we put a post on Twitter about Obi. It got a lot of responses. The post was just making fun of the fact that basically Obi was playing the same amount of minutes he played for the Knicks on the Pacers. And I just mentioned the fact, Tibbs must be limiting his minutes on the Pacers. And it wasn't really aimed at Obi. I wish the best for Obi. The point was just making fun of the people who are just like, basically just saying Tibbs was holding Obi back and just being too insane about Obi. Mm-hmm. But I did want to point out, did you read Obi's comments about, they interviewed about him about breaking up with the Knicks?
I did, but recap for people who haven't.
Yeah. I thought it was just, so basically they asked him, he said, it's nothing personal. It's just the business side of things. Obviously I was upset at times, but you get past that. And he just made a point that basically like, he didn't seem like he had bad feelings for his time with the Knicks, but he made the point really that like what was tough was that anytime he felt like he made a mistake, he'd be immediately pulled from games, which is the critique everyone made about Tibbs.
Yeah.
And he feels like in the Pacers, hopefully he will not have this issue. Do you think, even though we make fun of it, do you think Tibbs' style of like being overly critical with the young guys, does that hurt or help them?
I think it depends on the personality. You could have some guys that they completely lose confidence, and you have others that use it as a learning experience. I think everybody's different, and I don't think you could coach everybody the same way, but I think Tibbs does, so that's where you run into problems.
Yeah, because I mean, like, Tibbs also coached Quickly and Grimes. They both seem like they're playing well. Like, it seems like they benefited from his coaching.
Right, and Mitch, too.
Mitch, too, yeah. Whereas, and the question really is, Obi, like, maybe he thinks he didn't benefit from that. Maybe he did benefit because he tried to play more defense in the Knicks. Who knows? And maybe he just won't be that good on the Pacers. And we'll find out he's the same player that he was for the Knicks. Who knows?
But Tibbs ruined him forever, so still Tibbs' fault.
It is true no matter what he does on the Pacers. If he's really good, the Knicks are like, or Tibbs is awful for not letting him play this well in the Knicks. If he's really bad, it was Tibbs' fault he's playing this bad on his new team.
Yeah.
At least the Cam Hive has shut up now the fact that he just sucks on the Lakers.
The first game, he looked all right, and they were taking some victory laps, and then that's been it.
Right. I mean, it's rare the Knicks let a guy go who's actually good.
Lately.
What do you say? Lately, yes. I mean, the last guy actually would be Porzingis, who's playing well, but like there were major injury issues along the way.
There was a string early in the 2000s where if they kept drafting good guys and just letting them walk, which was pretty annoying.
Okay, you're right. Okay, under Leon at least.
Yeah.
Have they let anyone go who's really?
No. I was thinking like Fry, Ariza, David Lee. Like they just kept like.
They weren't game changers, but yes, they let a lot of like talented players, role players go.
Yeah, Shumpert.
But whatever. So Jay, overall, what do you think about this team so far? Are you optimistic? Not optimistic? Are you feeling still good after they're 1-2 and the season ended?
Yeah, I'm still okay. I don't like how the season started, but my opinion on them hasn't changed. I still think they're going to be very good. I just think, Celtics game we already went over. A back-to-back that early in the season is not great.
Maybe we're complaining a little bit, but like it is annoying.
Yeah. The FIBA stuff, surgeries, like they had a lot of stuff going on. I think they're going to be fine. I think 10 games from now, we're going to be like, what were we even worried about?
You know what's crazy? I'm looking at the stats right now. So RJ is shooting 51% from 2, which would be amazing if he does that for the season.
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson is shooting 29% from 2, which would be just absurd if he shoots that. Like a guy who's like almost a lock to shoot 50% from 2 for the season.
Yeah. No, that would be like historically bad.
And quickly shooting 60% from 2. It's just an interesting how the guy is like the shooting. Everything's 3 games. Everything is just different than you expect. RJ hopefully will have hopefully RJ shooting's for real. Brunson's right now shooting 37% overall. He's going to shoot much better.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Brunson's stats make no sense right now. He's shooting 37% from the field, but 48% from 3.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah, I don't think that's how it's going to go. Julius Randle is shooting abysmal, 27%. It's going to get better and work itself out. Yeah. All this stuff evens out, basically.
If a guy has years and years of history and he starts off a season slow, he didn't most likely just suck on it. It's just a slow start.
Most guys in a course of an 82-game season have like 3 games in a row where they're goddamn awesome at some point in the season and have 3 games in a row where they are terrible. It's just magnified when it's the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Not going to overreact yet, Jay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add, Jay?
Predictions for the next 5 games or until the next episode.
Okay, what do we got till next episode?
Well, we have the Cavs back-to-back.
I mean, I still think it's going to be one. It's going to be split. It'd be amazing if they swept it. Nightmare if they get swept. Most realistic. I bet the Knicks win on the. I guess it's tomorrow night on the road or at home. Tomorrow night's on the road, right?
Tomorrow night is on the road, and then Wednesday is home. Yes.
So unquestionably, the Knicks are going to win on the road and lose at home. That is their style.
And then they have Bucks and Clippers, and Bucks and Clippers.
With those two also. Hopefully they get the version of Dame that shoots 1 for 15. I like that version better when I play the Bucks.
I mean, they could win both of those.
It's a tough. I would be very happy with 3-2 of those 5 games. I think a tough stretch.
Yeah, I think they're going to go 2-2.
2-2, but they play of the 5 games.
The 4. The 5th game would be the Spurs.
The Spurs. Okay, they're going to beat Wemby.
3-2.
3-2 over those 5, and I do think they will beat Wemby. I want to see a lot of Wemby this season, but I feel like he's going to be. I think I was a little overly optimistic in the preseason. He's going to be very raw. He'll have some really interesting nights, really fun plays, but overall, he's going to be a net neutral or negative over the course of the season until he really grows into his NBA body and so forth.
Shubnot says, do you think RJ has potential to be a better player than Randall?
He's 23, so yeah, why not? So people have been pointing out RJ, the guys he's guarded this season, he's played really good defense if you just look at what their players are shooting against him and against a small sample. But it does look like RJ is playing better defense now on the court.
Mm-hmm.
In theory, I would think with the current team, RJ in some ways would be a better fit to kind of run in. I keep thinking RJ would be a better fit, but then when RJ is on the court and Randall's off the court, it's not like RJ suddenly starts excelling.
Right. I mean,
And you need Randall's size, especially on this team.
RJ's averaging 23 points a game this season. Obviously, only 3 games, but
Now we're gonna go to the 3-game sample and pretend it like it's his final season numbers.
it's a good start.
It's a good start. He's having a good start. He has to. Randall was an all-star last year. RJ's got to play pretty darn well to be an all-star. So
I
it'd be
still
great
don't
if
think
he
he's
can
going to be as
get
good
there.
as Randall. He doesn't do a lot of, like, he doesn't really rebound. He's been better at assists so far this season, but
He
he's
was
still
better
only,
at passing, especially the first 2 games, especially the Atlanta game. He had some nice passes.
yeah. Averaging 3 assists is more than he normally averages. But
I did like also in the Atlanta game, they were like, let's just double Randall, and Randall was like, fine, I'll just keep passing the ball. Oh, I hit a 3-point shooter. I hit a 3-point shooter. How's that going for you?
right, yeah. I don't
though
think
I
he
wonder
will,
if
but I
teams are
hope
gonna-
he does, because if he does, that means the Knicks are going to be really good.
Yeah. I still am not sure if RJ and Randall work together, but we'll find out, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So we are NY Knicks Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, or whatever you want to call it. We do have a Patreon, patreon.com/NY Knicks Podcast. When we joined that stupid basketball network, a bunch of episodes fell off our feed, so I've been uploading them. So we've been doing the show so long, you could hear how we felt about the Carmelo trade and Linsanity and D'Antoni.
You have to be a really diehard fan to go on a list of this stuff, but thank you if you do.
Yeah, I just uploaded the ones where D'Antoni got fired and Woodson took over. So blast from the past.
Wow. By the way, how long until we stop reading? You read someone say, posted on X, formerly known as Twitter. When do they get rid of the word formerly known as Twitter?
When Elon sells it and they go back to Twitter. Because X is just a dumb name.
X is a really dumb name.
Because you're still saying
what is
like
Jay,
a tweet.
What is
right?
dumber? X or the in-season tournament?
The in-season tournament's still stupider.
It is really like just mine. Like I'm happy to accept X over the in-season tournament.
I'm very, very against the in-season tournament. nyknickspodcast@gmail.com is our email. And the NewYorkKnicksPodcast.com is our website. I think that's all the plugs.
Do you think maybe the Knicks, if Toronto is bad this season, do they make an in-season trade for Pascal Siakam and try to balance, like play him also? Maybe put him at the 3. I don't like. Do you think they do something? I'm trying to think of guys who are big that'd be on the market, and Siakam is the guy that would be on the market.
Why not? I feel like you always upgrade in talent, and you figure the rest out later.
Yeah, the Knicks now have a lot of guards they can trade from. IQ is really good. Either IQ is really good and helps us, or he helps us in a trade. One or the other.
Andrew said he loved. Oh yeah, our other show is The Brink of Sanity, which is a comedy podcast. But we did do before we started the Knicks podcast, we had the comedy podcast, and we did a live episode of The Decision. And
I couldn't remember if that was on this podcast or the other podcast.
Yeah, so Andrew loved that episode when we live streamed the LeBron to Miami thing.
I really, really thought he was going to the Knicks.
Did you?
Yeah, you didn't. I am a sucker. You didn't think, obviously, you didn't think he was going to the Knicks. I just kept thinking like he did it in Connecticut. So you were like, why is he doing it in Connecticut if he's not going to New York?
I think we had no idea. I don't know. I had no idea.
I had no idea, but like, didn't you kind of like, you had that stupid childish like belief of like, it's going to work itself out. It's great.
There was some hope, but I did also notice that Miami had literally one guy on their entire roster. And I'm like, well, that's curious. I've never seen that before.
That was sketch, but like, the Knicks would have one guy on their roster and still not get him. The Knicks traded Porzingis to clear salary cap for no reason.
Yeah, well, the Knicks were making a bunch of moves to clear up cap space for LeBron and Wade, and didn't get them.
I just had the belief that the Knicks had some inside information. That's why they were clearing all the cap space. It would have been cool.
Well, rumor has it
really-
they were considered, but then the Knicks messed up the presentation.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, whatever. I don't. Also, when they say that, like the Knicks, like as if like if the presentation went right, he would have gone there.
Yeah,
He already had his decision to go with Wade in Miami. Like,
I think so. I think so.
I love the the afterwards. Wow, Knicks, if you just had like I don't know if Dolan had shook my hand, I'd be a Knick now. But he didn't shake my hand. He just waved to me because he had a cold. It's just like people. I just made that part up, but like it's just like people make up reasons afterward when you've already had your decision made.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So whatever. I don't know how they messed with the decision. I don't remember the story. It's stupid to bring it up. But anyway, I was a moron. I believed. I don't remember. I imagine if you went back and listened, Andrew can confirm. I really thought he was going to the Knicks.
All right. So yeah, that's the Brink of Sanity. If you want to check out our comedy podcast plus that one basketball episode, which is how the Knicks podcast was born.
Yes. What a birth.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we will be back next week.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go.
This is the end.
Say goodbye. You better go away.
I'm gonna leave you.
It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone.
Feels so good to say goodbye.
I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl.
Goodbye, 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 everybody.
So Andrew said you weren't even on that episode. It was me and Bry.
No, I was definitely on the episode. We did the episode when they had the decision. I was on that with you.
I don't remember, to be honest. It was like 14 years ago, but I thought you were on it, but I feel like Andrew would know better than us.
I mean, it's true. He'd definitely know better than us. But I really thought we did that episode together. I thought I watched it at your place. The decision.
That's what I thought. I thought that was one of the few like same room podcasts. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's when I used to come to your place. I definitely didn't watch the decision. I'm 99.9% sure I watched the decision with you. I'm not.
Birth of this podcast would be thrown out of whack if that wasn't the story of how it started.
Oh man, now I'm telling lies about the birth of the podcast.
I'm sticking to that story. I think you were there. Bry was remote, and the three of us did it, and that's how the podcast was born.
I don't even remember if Bry was on the episode, but well, Bry had to be remote. Bry never came to your apartment,
right?
But it was I was definitely with you when we watched the LeBron decision.
Andrew, you messed up.
Andrew, come on, Andrew, come on. You are the show historian, and you're probably right. I mean, you're a better chance of being right than we are. But I really thought I was there for this. I don't think I watched this on my own.